Now let's have a look at the thesis statement. Here are 3 thesis statements. I want to go through each one and explain which one is the best and why, and also which one you need to avoid. The first one. This essay will discuss both sides, and then I will give my opinion. Now, that thesis statement is introducing the instructions. If you are writing a normal academic essay and the reader does not know what you plan to do with the essay, we often use this type of thesis statement, because then the reader knows what you plan to do. But in IELTS, it's different. The examiner has the instructions, and so do you. So this means the reader does know what you plan to do with the essay. In fact, the examiner knows what you must do with the essay. So this type of thesis statement is a complete waste of time, and it does not introduce the most important thing, which is your opinion. This essay is a discussion essay with an opinion, and those instructions must start from the beginning to the end. It makes up the whole essay. So the discussion and opinion is in the introduction, it's in the body, and it's in the conclusion. So this type of thesis statement you should not use, not for IELTS. Now we move to the next one. I agree with the former opinion, and the former opinion was about competition. Now that is fine because it makes your opinion very clear, and that's something that IELTS does want. The examiner will look to see if you have a very clear opinion. So yes, it's good. However, would I recommend it? Not really. This sentence has no words that connects with the topic or with the essay question. It is a sentence that you can use for any essay, and it's a learned sentence. Now that means that even a student who is a band score 3 could learn those words, there are only 6 words, and write it in their test. And that means for the examiner, yes, it's good for task response. That is one of the marking criteria because it gives an opinion. But for grammar and vocabulary, it doesn't show your grammar or vocabulary, it shows your memory, which means your ability to learn a sentence and put it in. So is it something that will help? Yes, it gives a good opinion, but it's not going to help your band score overall. So if you don't know how to write anything else, use it. But if you can, let's use something different. So then we come to the third thesis statement. In my opinion, I consider that competition helps children learn the most important skills for their future. Here we've got a very clearly written opinion using our own language, which connects directly to the essay question. It's a direct answer, and that is what the examiner is really looking for. That will help you for task response, which means your answer. It will help you with coherence and cohesion, which is your ability to use linking devices and organize information. It will help you with grammar. You're presenting a different grammar structure. And vocabulary. We've got different types of vocabulary. We've used the verb to think, we've used the verb to believe, and now we've got the verb to consider. We've used to compete, and now we've got competition. And we've got learn instead of teach. So you can see that we've got a range of language and a direct answer as well. So which one do I think you should go for? You should be going for this type of thesis statement. Now let's have a look at the whole introduction together. The full introduction. Although it is sometimes thought that schools ought to teach children to compete, other people believe that the focus should be on cooperation. In my opinion, I consider that competition helps children learn the most important skills for their future life. The total length of this introduction is 41 words. Usually it will be between 40 or 50 words on average. Up to about 55 is the maximum, I would say. I wouldn't go further than that, for the simple reason that the introduction only has two functions. One is to introduce the two sides, and the other is to give your opinion. And then all the other points that you will get for your essay will come in the body paragraphs. So let's have a look now at the first body paragraph. The first sentence of your body paragraph is called a topic sentence, and it's the most important sentence to get right for your paragraph. The topic sentence will give the main point, and it explains to the reader what the content of the paragraph is about. All the sentences that come after the topic sentence are supporting and explaining that first sentence. So getting that first sentence right is essential for your essay and essential for a high score. Now, this is an example of a topic sentence which is not very good for a discussion essay. Firstly, children who learn to compete against each other often do better in school. Now, it does show which side we're talking about. We're talking about competition. And it does introduce a point, which is children perform better. But what the reader doesn't know, are we looking in this paragraph at what other people think? Are we discussing one of the sides? Or are we giving our opinion in this body paragraph? It's not clear. So for a discussion essay, this topic sentence is not clear. Let me show you how it should be written. And here we have the right way of writing your first sentence for a body paragraph for a discussion essay. On the one hand, some people think that children who learn to compete against each other often do better in school, and I agree. So what have we got in this topic sentence? Well, we're starting with the correct linking device to begin with. We've got on the one hand, and for the next body paragraph, we've got on the other hand. Those linking devices show that we've got two sides. They're academic and they're the right linking devices to use for a discussion essay. They're very clear for the examiner. We've also got some people think. So we are going to explain why people believe this. We've introduced the side we're talking about. We're talking about the side of competition. We've introduced one of our main points, which is that competition helps children do better in school. And we've also reminded the reader that this is the side we agree with. So that means that this body paragraph is about what some people think, and this is also our opinion at the same time. So that is a full topic sentence for a discussion essay. Now let's have a look at the whole body paragraph. Body paragraph number 1. On the one hand, some people think that children who learn to compete against each other often do better in school, and I agree. In other words, the competition between students motivates them to excel in their studies or tasks, which consequently produces better academic performance and results. For example, students generally apply themselves and work harder when they're in direct competition with their classmates. Furthermore, being driven to achieve the best is vital in order to succeed later in life, when as adults they must compete against others in the job market. So, body paragraph number 1. We've got what some people think, and I agree, and we've got a point that competing improves the performance at schools. We've got an explanation. In other words, is used to explain in more detail that competition creates motivation to excel, which means to do well. Then we've got an example. Now, not all examples need to have numbers and statistics. It might be an example of a situation. So, for example, children apply themselves and work harder when they compete against their classmates. So that's an example of what happens in the classroom. Then we've got another point, which is furthermore, another supporting point, which is a different supporting point. And that is that children need to learn to achieve their best because they need it later in life when they're adults to get a job. So we've got a number of supporting points. We've got our topic sentence written very clearly. Before we move to body paragraph number 2, I just want to point out one grammar thing, and that is here. This is written in the third person singular, so you can see the S, and that's because it relates to the word competition. It's not relating to the word students. So the competition motivates. The competition between students motivates them. So don't make a mistake with that. Let's have a look now at body paragraph number 2. I'm sure now you remember that the topic sentence of a body paragraph is very important. It is your main point. And I want to show you here an example of a topic sentence for the second body paragraph, which is not very good. On the other hand, it is often believed that competition should not be emphasised in schools. This is the type of mistake that I have seen students make again and again in their writing. Now it starts with on the other hand. That's the correct linking device. We've got on the one hand and on the other hand. 2 sides for a discussion essay. Then it talks about that it's often believed that competition should not be emphasised. It's very important before you start writing your body paragraph that you go back to the essay question and check the 2 sides. In the essay question it said that some people believe in competition, and the other side was that people believe in cooperation. So the second body paragraph is not connected with competition at all. It's not the negative side of competition. In fact, it's a completely different point. It's about cooperating. So let's have a look how the topic sentence should be written. The topic sentence should be, on the other hand, it is often believed that it is better if the emphasis at school is on cooperating with others. So you can see we've got the right linking device. We're introducing that this is what other people think. It's not what we think. So there is no mention of our opinion in this at all. It's only what other people think. We've got the emphasis, the focus at school should be on cooperating. So that is what you should be writing. So just be very careful with that. Remember that when you come to write task 2, you will be very, very tired. You will already have done 2 hours of your test. So many students lack focus. So before you start your body paragraph, each time you need to stop, go back and read the essay question and check. Be careful, this will affect your band score. Now let's have a look at the full body paragraph number 2. On the other hand, it is often believed that it is better if the emphasis at school is on cooperating with others. As people, we do not live, work or socialise apart from others. So learning how to work alongside other people ought to be taught from childhood. Without these skills, children would lack the ability to communicate with each other or know how to deal with confrontations and conflicts in a constructive way. Another reason why team skills are useful for children is that they learn how to negotiate to complete a task. This is an essential skill to learn for their future life. So you can clearly see the topic sentence followed by supporting points. Now we've got the supporting point of people needing to be together and learning to live and work and socialise together, learning to communicate, deal with confrontations, learn how to negotiate, and connecting this with their future life. Now, before we move on to the conclusion, I want to point out one part of this paragraph, and that's here. You can see that we've used the word we. Now, normally you don't use the word we. You would use the word they. And it's only with this structure, as people, we. And this is referring to the group, the race of people. And then, of course, you need to start with we after that. That's the only time you would use we. If that is a little bit difficult for you to understand, that can be changed. And you could write, people do not live, work or socialise apart from others. And that is also correct. So let's move on now and we'll have a look at the conclusion.